Hal Sparks.
True. Want to get sued?
So yeah, Hal Sparks is back, y'all.
Michigan gave us vote.
I'm Art,
I'm Bobby.
the host of Where Are They Now? Now let's get back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Hey, listen.
Michigan gave us vote time.
We have some callers on the line. And so let's see who we had. I mean, sometimes I have so many callers.
I had to beat off.
That, you know, and they get on and they get really. So let's see what they have to say. And if we have anybody who wins the 5 Eggs Award today.
5 eggs.
Okay, here we go. Who do we have first, Chicago?
First up is Bonnie from Cleveland.
Excellent.
Bonnie
from Cleveland.
Yeah, hello.
From Steak on the Lake. Hi.
Oh, no. You've been here. You know it's beautiful.
Oh, I spend many holidays there. I have family there. I love Cleveland, actually. And I you know me, I love the city and I love hanging out there with fam and all that stuff, but I am not a big fan of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's just a chip that will remain on my shoulder until they put Alan Free's ashes back where they belong. I'm just saying, it's some sort. It's like removing the golden statue. The darts come out of the walls. All right, go ahead.
They could have done much better. But anyway, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
This we did here in Cleveland in 2016. And Kasich won Ohio.
Right.
I say that the Democrats and independents, they need to register Republican in the primary. Vote against the Trump-Republican, and then vote blue in the general.
I see. That would be rat sexing is another way of phrasing what that's often called. I very possibly. I mean, that's up to people if they want to do that strategy. I don't recommend it. I believe in all-inning on your party, and I also think that over time, Ohio's one of those states that, as much as they want to make it because it's a swing state, they make it somehow a point of extremity because of Jim Jordan. But Kasich is much more indicative of what Ohio Republicans have been like and will and could be like. And I think engaging in that kind of stuff makes it more like trench warfare. I think Democrats.
Well, I think after what's happened this last year, we need to get in the trenches.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily think. I know we've had, a lot of fear mongering about the available, voting, and that they're going to pass all these rules and stop all people from voting and yada, yada, yada. But most of the stuff that's really egregious, like being able to switch out electors at the last minute, without, certifying the vote and yada, yada. Those not only violate federal law, you could do that for your state elections. If you want to elect your mayors that way, I mean, the federal government has no say in it. Once you get into the federal government, into your senators, your congresspeople, and the presidential race, the laws are much more stringent.
An example is DeWine is running against Renacci, who Renacci is just an off-the-hook, crazy Trump-Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a chance he could win in Ohio. But if enough Democrats and independents vote for DeWine, and then
that's assuming that I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I mean, I think DeWine, is seen as sort of the sensible choice comparatively, and that if one of them wins, it better if it was that person. Materially, that's absolutely true. But the reality is that if the Republican Party is going to pick increasingly lunatic people, the Democrats have a much stronger position to go look, they're insane. We're not insane. We're not trying to run off everybody in the state who disagrees with us, and as a matter of fact, you get in a situation where DeWine might end up endorsing or at least, tacitly supporting the Democrat in some ways if that person is that far off the hook. And in a lot of, the Trumpians, interestingly enough, do a tremendous amount of damage to the, to what would be effectively, they call them rhinos and they attack them all over the place, but, just general Republicans in a way that might actually convert a lot of people. It's one of the reasons why Trump lost the suburbs the way he did. It's, it's because of the extremity of him. So I would absolutely say that, rejecting that outright and being vocal about rejecting that, is a much better way of expending our effort and our time. Because I think we have a lot to be proud of. Ohio is going to gain a lot from the infrastructure bill, more than some states, honestly. And being able to run on that and saying, look, the ACA is here. We want to offer eventually a public option, but we didn't, Biden won on the, and he's not this dude who's trying to just snatch everybody's guns and take away your churches and yada, yada. Like, none of those things hold up against him. It's been very difficult for them to pin it on him. That's 100% why they other people are controlling him. That's why they sell that narrative, because when you look at the actual guy and what the actual guy says and what the actual guy does, it's very hard to make the case that he's anything other than a genuinely concerned, relatively moderate guide of American democracy. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's infrastructure week ended last year, for crying out loud. And it will change, by the way. I brought up the metaverse in the last segment. And part of that is because the biggest shift we're going to see in the United States is going to be over the next 3 to 5 years in terms of broadband expansion and business expansion. Because people are going to be able to conduct business without having to be in a big city in a lot of ways, in ways they didn't before. Still bigger and bigger businesses will grow in smaller areas because of that. Because while they don't need to be in the giant tower in Manhattan to do it, they do need their team. So, there'll be these bifurcated teams in different parts of the country that represent these folks. So you'll have, 30, 50, 100 people-sized businesses that are sections of a bigger corporation spread throughout these other areas, building, and flourishing economies in those areas in a way that people, I don't even know if they can recognize as a possibility right now. And that is all going to be tracked back to the fact that Biden, was like, we need a broadband initiative in this. This is what will get it passed. It's absolutely true that that's what carried the infrastructure bill across the finish line. Like I said it would. And it will be fundamentally a game changer for all Americans. It'll be one of the greatest equalizers we've ever experienced. And so we can't make our decisions based on the past and the trends of the past and the people who would hold us in the past or have a narrow view of where it's going. What were you saying, Johnny? Sorry.
And I was just saying it's so important.
Yeah. So I understand your concern, but I will always choose overt versus covert means simply because I'm proud of what we're doing. Do I think? Yeah, do I think Democrats have an issue nationwide that they have to message not based on people who, what I would say, turn blue districts bluer? Basically where the right is trying to squad the entire Democratic Party for people in the Midwest who don't necessarily ascribe to that, and scare off Republicans with this sort of like New York elites are going to come for your kids and turn them trans, like that kind of stuff. That's what they're going to use. Yeah. But more and more, they're going to look at where the rubber hits the road, and that's where the Biden administration shines. And that messaging is already starting. It's already starting to shift. The numbers are already starting to come back. The oil prices and gas prices post-COVID will start stabilizing over the next 6 months, and they're going to go down after the summer like they always do. And we're going to be going into the next election cycle with the Republican Party, who is really going to be scrambling to explain to anyone why they're capable of running anything. It's going to be all CRT and and Marxism for months. I guarantee it, because on the merits, the economy, inflation, especially year over year, those guys are going to be flipping out.
Or they'll just lie about the way things really are right now.
Yeah, but increasingly that's hard to do when everybody gets up and they go out and they go to work and all that kind of stuff. Unless you live in this, unless you're metaversing yourself already,
Yeah.
you can look out the window. And so I appreciate the call. I get that concern, but I'm proud of what we're doing, and I'm proud of it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm proud of it in a way. Thanks for calling in. I'm proud of it in a way that not only will I stand up what Biden's accomplished in the last year to Republican criticism, but even what would in air quotes I would call far left criticism. That this is what they're asking for in a lot of ways is stomach stapling surgery, when what America really needs is a nutrition plan and a health plan. A real exercise plan to take care of themselves. And that takes time, and it's constant gardening. So let's see. Let's take this break earlier because we're almost at the end of it, and I don't want to grab it and then have to go to break during the next caller. So we'll take a break early right now, and then we'll get the other caller on the other side of it. We'll be back.
Okay.